Welcome to Frank Fridays. My name is Karline Moeller and I'm the founder of Art Frankly. I'd like to introduce my Frank Fridays collaborator, Ellie Hayworth of Hayworth Communications Consultancy. Ellie is committed to promoting intrepid ideas in both art and design, and she has grown her business to command a full scope of client services that include content development, business strategy, events, speaking engagements. Ellie can help you with all of it. And today we are chatting with Erin Kim. Erin is the Director of Partnerships at Mana Contemporary. At Mana, Erin develops collaborations and partnerships with individual curators, galleries, art fairs, and other organizations within the arts and culture industry. In addition to her role at Mana Contemporary, Erin founded Midnight Projects, a curatorial project that presents exhibitions by contemporary artists throughout the greater New York metropolitan area. Erin also sits on the board of Palazzo Monte, an artist residency program housed in a 13th century palazzo in Brescia, Italy. This residency program is dedicated to supporting young artists seeking the freedom and space to experiment with their practice. Ellie, let's get this interview started.
Amazing. Thank you, Karline and Erin. We're really excited to have you today.
Yeah, I'm so happy to be here and getting to talk to you two lovely ladies. So yeah, thanks.
Yeah. So Erin, you are the Director of Partnerships at Mana Contemporary. I think for a lot of New Yorkers and, arts professionals in the greater New York area, they know Mana well, but maybe you can just tell us a little bit more for those who don't know what Mana is and what your role there looks like.
Yeah, so Mana Contemporary, we are a giant art center, like 2 million square foot art center in Jersey City. We also have spaces, like a large space in Chicago and a presence in Wynwood, Miami. And what we do is we basically have over like 300 artist studios under one roof, as well as exhibition spaces and nonprofits. And our goal is to foster a sense of community within within Jersey City in the greater New York area, as well as Chicago and in Miami as well. So yeah, that's what we are in a nutshell. And we're open to the public. I think right now by appointment, but soon available just walk in as before.
Yeah, and you guys are definitely, you're a mammoth hub, and I think it's a very impressive space. So it's exciting to hear a little bit more about your role there today. So as the Director of Partnerships, can you tell us a little bit, who are you identifying as strategic partnerships? How are you collaborating with different individuals, and just, tell us a little bit about your expertise.
Yeah, so as Director of Partnerships, I really enjoy my role because it's wide-ranging. I get to work with, I pursue partnerships that ultimately benefit either the artists in our community or like our extended family or the extended larger Jersey City, Chicago, Miami community. So, this means like going anywhere from partnering with different curators or art organizations to come to Mana and put up amazing shows and content. But also this also means like partnering with like art organizations and fairs like NADA. We've partnered with like NADA Independent Armory as well to like come up with like really cool VIP and members programming as well. But then also like we'll partner with like local Jersey City organizations to come up with like really great events for the larger community, or like to benefit the larger community in some way, because we really want to be a hub where people congregate. I mean, during COVID, it was not like that, but we're slowly starting to, we want to be a source of inspiration and, and be very accepting to anybody who wants to learn about art and see what's behind our doors. So.
Yeah, I love that. Erin, you alluded to the fact that things shifted ever so slightly, if not quite fundamentally, during the past year with the pandemic. You have a really robust community of artists within the Mana Contemporary doors. And I'm just curious, did the artists' needs shift? How were they able to access their studio spaces? How did you guys kind of navigate the closure?
Yeah, artists still had access to their studios for most of COVID. It was basically they couldn't bring like very many guests or
Sure.
like no guests. I don't think they were allowed to bring any guests in the beginning. And so they did have access to their artist studios. And a lot of things did have to shut down, but we like back in, I believe like in October, we slowly reopened by appointment only to the public. So people can like book appointments and things like that. But beyond that, like during the pandemic, and which is still ongoing, but slowly getting better with vaccinations, like during the height of the pandemic, we connected with our members and our community through online programming and coming up with benefits that really do benefit them. So before we actually like brought in some lawyers to like talk about, like in the beginning, we brought in some like lawyers and financial experts to talk about how to navigate the situation, how to navigate their leases, or like the PPP loans, for example. We brought in like health insurance experts as well. So we actually like wanted to address like direct needs that artists had, and like would bring in those experts to talk to them through an online format. So that was like one way we communicated with we connected with our members. But then also we brought in like really cool curators and like artists to, we were having this ongoing talk with Terry R. Myers, who is the editor at large of Brooklyn Rail and an independent curator. And he brought in like all sorts of great people. So that was like sort of like our way of connecting. Yeah.
And as a fellow member of MANA's community and as a big fan of yours, Erin, I participated in some of those, and they were really engaging. And I think it was a time where we were all kind of, I mean, I don't want to say we were hearing crickets, but I think it was very early stage in terms of the art world hadn't quite ramped up to give us all of this digital content that we now have today. And you guys were doing a really good job of it. So it was really fun.
Yeah. And, there's like a ton of like online content, but I think what we try to do a little bit differently is to like address the direct needs of like artists. Like they were like, oh, how do I market my art online? Or like, how do I navigate the open enrollment for like the health plans and things like that. Like, so we brought in experts to answer those specific questions for artists. So I thought like that's kind of like how we did it our own way. And I'm sure like many others did it their own way very creatively. So yeah.
Yeah, no, it's great. Erin, can you tell us a little bit personally about your journey to art? How did you decide to pursue a career in the arts? And just tell us a little bit about your journey.
Yeah, so I mean, art was always in my life since I was little. Like my mother would take me to the Met. She signed me up for like painting classes. I think like everything changed when I like learned about Van Gogh for the first time. I was just I was just a kid, but it was just like, wow, like this is incredible. And then, yeah, art was like just always part of my life. I was very lucky for that. And I studied art history in college. I focused on like Japanese art during the Edo period, but then I decided I was like more excited about contemporary art. I first got into the art world by joining Artsy as an intern. Like that was my foot in the door. And then I was at Artsy for 5 years and had a great time, and then went to MANA and I've been here for a little over a year now. So yeah.
Amazing. And now you have launched Midnight Projects, which is this independent curatorial initiative. You're actually taking this interview today from within the Midnight Projects walls, which is housed within MANA Contemporary. Can you tell us just a little bit more about your vision with the Midnight Projects initiative and how you go about building that program?
Yeah, so Midnight Projects, it's like a curatorial initiative where I work directly with artists to put up exhibitions throughout the greater New York area. And I don't have a permanent location. I will basically work with the artists to decide where they want to show. And for this particular show, it first started with conversations with Liza Lacroix, who's the painter behind me.
Yeah.
She was very much inspired by the Arnulf Reiner paintings downstairs in our first floor MANA exhibition space. And then she was like, I really want to show at MANA because it'd be so, like, she's like, it'd be so cool to show under the same giant roof. But yeah, I work closely with the artists from who they want to show with, where they want to show, what they want to show. Like it's very collaborative and like lots of conversations happen. And I always wanted to do it that way. It's very fun to work directly with artists. And yeah, and a lot of it, like the three artists that I worked with so far, like Liza Reese and Kamari from before, I've actually like been following their work for a while. So it's just like from years of knowing them, and it's just like a natural progression in some ways. So yeah.
Yeah, I love that. Are there any, kind of insights or different kind of curatorial takeaways that you would like to chat about with your involvement with Palazzo Monte, which is a really just dynamic program? I know you sit on the board and you have a great relationship with the founder and the director. Just can you tell us a little bit about your involvement with Palazzo?
Yeah, so Palazzo Monte is this incredible artist residency in Brescia, Italy, which Karline had mentioned. Eduardo founded that several years ago while he was still at, I believe he was still at Stella McCartney, and then he decided to go full-time, like move to Italy, go full-time and focus on this. And he's actually like the curatorial brains behind this. Like, usually like he will have the final say. But then there's like people on the board who like introduces artists or like pushes or like really advocates for an artist. But Eduardo is like the curatorial brain behind the whole thing. But I think the whole mission for that is to we basically provide a studio space and a room for someone to stay in for 4 to 6 weeks. And we just let them kind of like, I know Eduardo just wants to give them a free space to think and do what they want.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also like it's in northern Italy. Before the pandemic, like people were able to go to like Rome or Venice or Turin, like for weekend trips to like find inspiration and things like that. So yeah, I love that. I love being like involved in that. It's very I get to like meet all sorts of great artists, and they seem to like really enjoy going there too. So yeah.
Yeah, it's a fantastic resource, and it certainly is a stunning and very inspirational setting. So I think it's an amazing initiative to be a part of. Erin, with this full constellation, I mean, working with Mana, working with Midnight Projects, and also with Palazzo Monte, it's been a very challenging year, and it sounds to me like you've stayed well connected with the arts community through a number of initiatives. What are, some of the valuable lessons that you've kind of taken away from what has been a very volatile year?
Yeah, I mean, I like just keeping in touch, just like checking in on the people that you really enjoyed working with, or just kind of like, I've kept in touch we've all kept in touch throughout the pandemic, and we've all come up with like really cool things and ideas and ways to collaborate in some way, I feel. And I think that just like keeping that conversation open, like always leads to new ideas or opportunities. So I think just like picking up the phone and like calling someone and just like chatting with them and see how they're doing, it has always been very nice and very fun and fruitful.
Yep. And I think, as someone who's now located in Miami and has left the New York nexus, it is great that we're able to kind of stay in touch in this way. And, so I think that's a very good best practice to kind of keep at heart. Erin, are there any special projects or forthcoming milestones you'd like us to communicate to the listeners? We like to just, make sure that everybody is apprised of fun things that you guys have on your horizon.
I would just say, save the date, April 24th. Mana Contemporary is going to have like some fun outdoor opening.
Amazing.
Yeah, and just like, save the date. That's all. So
that's great. We will stay tuned.
Yeah, there may be,
and I'm sure. Okay. I was going to say, I'm sure Art Frankly can also find a way to do a little plug. So you guys will, our listeners today will get a little bit more information about that soon then.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
I love it. Erin, we love to end with some professional practice questions. And I think one of the things we like to hear is, what is one thing that you do every day in your professional life that you think is critical to your success?
Ooh, that's a good question. I have to go for a morning walk every day to like, just like be zen, cause like sometimes like things, any given day, something crazy might happen. Things like blow up in your face, like things happen. And so I just go for a morning walk, try to stay zen. And that morning walk really helps because it like, it's like very refreshing, and like, you just, it kind of like sets the tone for the day. So I think that's not like typical professional advice, but something like it
No.
just helps a lot.
I think it does. I mean, we've heard a little bit of everything. We've heard everything from like, stay hydrated to, follow up on 1.5 million emails. I mean, I think there's a lot actually that, comes into play that completely, we're not siloed individuals. I think, our professional practice is a combination of our personal as well as our professional. So I think that's a great insight. In terms of some word of advice that you would give to, an aspiring new arts professional, what is one kind of piece of advice you would offer?
I would just go out, stay curious, and go out as much as possible. Go out and see art as much as possible, because
Sure.
only will you learn about, discover new artists and learn about cool new galleries, but you'll also meet amazing people. Cause I've met some of my best friends just from going to some Alex Katz opening at I think it was Mary Boone. Just go out and just go look at art, and you'll meet people, you'll see cool art. It's the most enjoyable thing. So I would do that.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that statement. And out of the past year, what is one positive takeaway that you hope we all hold close to the vest as we move forward?
From this past year?
Yeah. I mean, it could also be a bigger positive takeaway, but I think, we've all kind of contextualized this in a year.
I think that the positive takeaway is that the art world is always interesting. There's always something interesting going on, whether it's NFTs or or just some crazy sale at an, there's always something that will interest you or blow your mind or something. So I thought that was cool. And there's so much creativity and quick thinking on people's feet, because there was so much amazing content that came out. Some artists I remember came out with created a video game of their own exhibition space. So there's just so much creativity, and I thought that was very positive in general.
Yeah,
it's always
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree. And I think maybe at the end of the day, the real universal takeaway is that art is a constant. And so the art world might evolve and whatnot, but I think exactly to your point, the artists are pretty quick on their toes, and we end up with some really, really interesting kind of outlets and products of their labor,
Yeah, definitely.
That's great. Well, Erin, this has been really fun. We really enjoyed getting to chat with you. I personally just enjoyed getting to see your face. It's been a few months since we've gotten to catch up. So thank you so much for lending the time today.
Yeah, of course. I love seeing both of you. Wish I could give you a real hug, but
I know. Soon. And we'll save the date for April 24th.
Thanks, guys. So good seeing you.
Thank you.